Hello everyone, my name is Chase. Today I wanted to talk to you about my MP5K, or rather give you guys an update on where I'm at with it. So this is my darling little JG MP5K. What do I have to say about it aside from the fact that the stock components are a little bit lackluster in some ways and not in others. So I've had this gun. I got it during the summer offensive on Taiwan Gun. I picked this up for about $80 with a $30 shipping, so I picked it up for about $110. I put an Aster V3 in it and version 3 or just 13-to-1 gears, and this thing absolutely sings now. I'll give you guys a shooting demonstration at the end here, but to suffice it to say, this thing operates as both an effective primary and an effective secondary backup weapon. One thing I will say is that the stock gears and the stock bushings absolutely suck. I had to replace both of those. The gears are not CNC; they're just sintered metal, and the bushings somehow managed to destroy themselves. So I had my stock gears and everything in there. The only thing that I had changed was the Aster. And the bevel gear started to get eccentric, and it had actually spun a trench essentially into the bushing. I'll attach a photo over it right now just so you guys can see what that looked like. But needless to say, I swapped out the bushings for some A&K ones I had lying around in a ACR that I HPA'd. And I had 13-to-1s installed that I got off of Amazon for like $25. And what can I say aside from the fact that they're absolutely amazing now? And this thing averages with a LiPo around 25 RPS, which is absolutely perfect for a SMG. I don't need any more than that, especially since I run the stubby magazines. I run 3 60-round stubbies, and that will usually net me about a 15-minute skirmish. So on to the next point I have with this is that if I take this stock off, what I have in front of me is a very compact little PDW. And there's something that I've been working on and trying to figure out, which is my primary is a DMR. And I love running the DMR. It's my favorite thing to run. The amount of versatility that you get at range over bolt actions is insane, but there is a problem with getting up close with people or trying to like clear a room or whatever, right? And so I was looking and I found this pin device here. So this is essentially an AR-15 pin, which for those who don't know is about the same size as an MP5 body pin. But it's essentially a body pin that has this little ball on it. And that ball rides in a track on a special holster that I have. And so this thing, and again, I'll probably put a picture up or some B-roll up. This thing literally just slots in on my chest rig now and acts as an absolutely phenomenal secondary when I need to clear a room. The only problem that I have is that my DMR is still so freaking big that even when I single point sling it down, it's like knocking on my knees and stuff. But this is what I'm left with when I take the stock off, which with this little pin on it right here is very effective. I can't think of another pistol that can get, pistol being the substitute for this, but I can't think of anything else that will be able to get the range that this gets while also being able to put the consistency of fire. That's a thing that even on a really stable pistol platform like my 93R, you run into consistency when you're doing bursts. It's just the nature of running a gas blowback versus an AEG. And granted, this is heavy. This is definitely more than a pistol by a wide margin, but the fact of the matter is that in my DMR role, I shouldn't be moving around that much. So when I'm making these pushes, I will probably just set my AR to the side if I'm being real and holster and rock this out of the holster. I took the backplate off when I run it like this. I 3D printed a backplate, but even the stock one here, no pun intended, the one with the stock, the default one, has this little overhang on the side here that prevents me from using this holster system properly. So that's why I don't even bother to fold the stock. I would simply rather just rough it without the back plate. It's not like it's doing any harm or anything. But yeah, the components in this that actually blew me away were the motor. The motor in here is absolutely phenomenal. It chews up and absolutely tears through 11.1 lipos in the sense that it can handle them, and it gets a lot of money for them. It's very torquey. It's surprisingly torquey for the being the stock motor, but I know the JG Blue motors are generally well regarded. The range of this as a primary is lackluster. Let's be real, you have a 4-inch barrel here. It's not like you're going to be getting massive amounts of range out of it. However, one thing I will say is that with the range that it has, it is remarkably consistent. And what I mean by that is that even if you're past your effective range and you're sort of just lobbing BBs, you can lob, if you send a big volley over, people are going to see it coming because it's going to fly so slow. But the fact of the matter is that you can throw a volley downrange pretty far and it'll go about where you expect it to. You'll average out to being in the right place, which even with some pistols and some ARs, you can't say that, or some SMGs, I should say, you can't say that. The stock compression components are really good. I'm still running 100% stock compression components. They're loud, they're snappy, in the sense that like they make a big snap sound when the air comes out of the end, and I like that. I like that this thing's loud and it kind of intimidates people on the field when they hear a full auto burst coming out of this thing and know it's likely heading their way. As far as other mods go, I believe I had the scope the last time I made the video, but this is just a simple RMR replica. I think it looks really neat on here, and then I made a custom 3D print sight delete that I sell on my website. But this essentially just removes the front sight, so you can use a super low profile scope and not have to worry about, or a low profile optic and not have to worry about that front sight post getting in the way. The question being, the $1 million question, or I guess the $85 question, is would I recommend this over getting something just more expensive like the SEMA high speed or whatever? Well, the question on the SEMAs is whether you can find them. They're never really in stock. Granted, this thing isn't really in stock anywhere right now either, but it's still a significantly cheaper platform. And if you're on a budget, I would say if you have any sort of tech capacity, or you know somebody that can do it, install some 13-to-1s in this and keep it with the stock internals until you wear out the trigger contacts and just run an 11.1. And then once that 11.1 wears out, put a parent hybrid in it. So all in, you're in an extra $100. So it becomes a $185 investment in a platform that at that point is going to blow the SEMA absolutely out of the water, I think. And, you know, I would argue that the quality of the polymers isn't as good, but quite frankly, I don't care about that terribly much. So that's my personal opinion on it. Would I recommend this? Yeah, I think I would. I think I would recommend it under the caveat that it is a dirt cheap platform to then build off of to make a really effective replica. Like, there are some things in here that you don't need to change. The hop up and barrel, for instance, like, could you get more range out of it? Could you squeak more out of it if you were running, you know, a better hop unit and a better inner barrel and whatever? Yeah, but like, it's an SMG. Like, I don't really care about that, and I'm running it as either a secondary or a CQB gun anyway. Same with the compression components. It's an SMG. I mean, it's shooting about 0.88 joules with 3 2s, and it does that pretty damn consistently. So I'd say that's exactly where I need it to be. Could it be more efficient? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, but it doesn't need to be. But yeah, I think this is a really good platform for someone who wants to tinker on their MP5 or is looking to build a really nice secondary out of. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to someone who is not going to be willing to put in the work on it, because at that point I would recommend you just get the SEMA. But I think there's an argument to be made for this as well. And I hope I've made that to some extent today. So if you like this, please consider subscribing. Just building the channel and it helps out. And if you would like to see more content like this instead of the gameplay where it's actually me just kind of talking about one of my replicas, let me know. Hey, what's up guys? I'm just going to do a quick shooting demonstration here. Put it in full auto. There she goes, 60 rounds, minus a few.